Previously, we spoke about the first stand that was introduced in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga back in 1989, which was Muhammad Avdol's Magician's Red. The red humanoid stand with the head of a bird has its own set of abilities, strengths and weaknesses, which I discussed in the last video. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out. In this video, however, we'll be exploring a very different stand. Alongside humanoid and non-humanoid stands, there also exist some special types of stand categories. One of these categories is the bound type stand. Bound stands are usually linked to objects such as vehicles, dolls, or even people. Because these stands are bound to these objects, they can usually be seen and touched by non-stand users. One of these bound stands is Rubber Soul's Yellow Temperance.
Understand?
Yellow Temperance is named after the 14th tarot card in the major arcana, Temperance. The Temperance card signifies balance, peace, patience and moderation, which is ironic considering Yellow Temperance's ability to grow and strengthen by assimilating flesh goes against this tarot card's meaning. The user, Rubber Soul, also directly opposes this idea as he is impatient, crude and lacks respect for others. Yellow Temperance does not hold any type of humanoid form at all. It is a special type of stand named a bound stand. This means it is bound to Rubber Soul's body and cannot fully leave his person. Due to it being bound to an object that non-stand users can see, in this case the object being Rubber Soul himself, this means that non-stand users can also see and touch Yellow Temperance. Rubber Soul's stand lacks any clear defined shape or form, usually appearing as a mass of thick, rubbery yellow goo that covers his body. Yellow Temperance can use this to fully cover Rubber Soul's body and change its shape to take the appearance of another person. This ability was notably used to transform into Kakyoin to confuse Jotaro. We'll discuss this ability in more detail later. Yellow Temperance has absolutely no personality at all, fully following his user's wishes loyally. However, with how closely the user and the stand are linked, one could say its personality matches its user, as Rubber Soul is rude, impatient, and overly vain. It's unknown if Rubber Soul was born with his stand or if Dio used the stand arrow to grant him his power, but imagine what kind of life Rubber Soul would have had growing up if everyone he met could see this yellow mass of goo protruding from his body. I would assume Dio was the one who granted Rubber Soul this ability in an effort to recruit him into his ranks. Yellow Temperance acts as a near impenetrable body armor, impervious to physical impacts, freezing, and burning. Due to its blob-like nature, it can absorb a near endless amount of physical punishment. On top of having a very high level of defense, Yellow Temperance also has a very torturous way of preying on its target. This close-range stand absorbs organic matter from physical contact and can also detach pieces of itself, leaving those pieces attached to its target, slowly eating away at it. Yellow Temperance also grows in size and strength the more it eats, as shown when it devours the beetles whilst disguised as Kakyoin and then confronts Jotaro. Speaking of which, another ability this stand has is Replication of Appearance. Rubber Soul uses his stand to disguise himself as Kakyoin for a chunk of the arc, and also transforms into a woman in the cable car later on. This ability makes Yellow Temperance very useful in espionage, as he could potentially integrate himself into a circle of people or an organization by taking on the form of someone within that circle or organization. He displays this ability when he takes the form of Kakyoin and tries to trick Jotaro into thinking he's the real deal. However, it is Rubber Soul's crude personality and a lack of control that allows for his disguise to become easily transparent. Yellow Temperance can also be launched a few meters in front of Rubber Soul to attach itself to a target. It also seems these launched pieces of Yellow Temperance can also transform into a different form, as it takes the appearance of Hierophant Green when Rubber Soul, disguised as Kakyoin, gets his wallet stolen by a mugger. Whilst Yellow Temperance does appear nearly unbeatable, the one true weakness of the stand is Rubber Soul himself. If the user suffers, such as contracting a mortal illness or suffering from a lack of oxygen from drowning, the stand will weaken and the defense will lower. Threaten Rubber Soul's mortality and the stand's strength will dissipate. However, this is true for most stand users. There are no other known weaknesses for Rubber Soul's stand, making it potentially one of the stands with the highest potential to be unstoppable. Yellow Temperance has its own set of standout special techniques which we have already touched on. The first one being its appearance replication. This ability allows Yellow Temperance to instantaneously morph its shape to form the appearance of another person, or even another stand, as shown when he sends a fake Hierophant Green to chase the mugger. This ability creates a perfect image of the person he is intending to replicate, copying the stature, hair, and even their voice to perfection. The only downfall to this technique is Rubber Soul's easily angered and rude attitude will alert those around him that there is something odd about their friend. When he replicated Kakyoin and got his wallet stolen, he failed to control his emotions and became angry, crude, and violent towards the mugger, going as far as to brutally beat up the criminal. This behavior is so very far away from what the real Kakyoin's personality is like, which results in those around him becoming suspicious. Rubber Soul also displays a lack of skill in covering up his mistakes in regards to his anger, such as making up poor excuses to Jotaro to try and convince him that he is indeed the real Kakyoin. It's also theorized that Yellow Temperance can instantly kill and replicate a person, as the people in the cable car did not see him kill and replicate the lady whilst they were focused on Jotaro. The next technique is assimilation. Yellow Temperance can assimilate any and all organic matter, which allows the stand to grow bigger and stronger. It appears that Yellow Temperance needs to feed regularly, because as soon as Jotaro and Anne turned their backs, Rubber Soul, disguised as Kakyoin, began feeding on the 4 rhinoceros beetles in a hurry. Speaking of which, Rubber Soul is named after the album Rubber Soul by The Beatles, of which there were 4 members. Ironic? I don't think so. Anyway, with its physical imperviousness being the final technique, Yellow Temperance can leave pieces of itself on its victims, which will slowly eat away at the organic matter it is attached to, as shown when Jotaro punches it and gets a piece of substance on his hand. Yellow Temperance also cannot be beaten by fire or ice attacks. Jotaro is seen attempting to burn the piece of the stand off his hand, resulting in the substance exploding and spreading further. He next tries using a cold ice lolly to freeze the goo, resulting in the substance hardening and growing thorns. This stand can deflect nearly any physical impact that is sent its way, which results in power-based stands like Star Platinum being utterly useless against it. Its defense against fire and ice attacks also theoretically would leave Muhammad Avdol's Magician's Red and Pet Shop's Horus stands at an extreme disadvantage. My final thoughts on Yellow Temperance are that it is one of the most powerful stands in Stardust Crusaders, with only a few stands being able to beat it, some of those stands being The Fool, Death 13, Cream, and The World. The Yellow Temperance arc never really discusses any actual restrictions on Rubber Soul's stand abilities. After eating the rhinoceros beetles, Yellow Temperance grows in size and increases his strength ready to fight Jotaro, but what would happen if he kept eating and eating and eating? In theory, if the stand kept consuming organic matter in a large quantity, it could give Rubber Soul possibly unlimited capabilities to grow, and in the same vein, Yellow Temperance would grow large enough to possibly consume an entire city. This means that Rubber Soul must have some morals to know not to attack an entire city in this way. Either way, he has limitations that are not explored in the manga or anime. Although this is true though, a stand is a visual manifestation of the user's own life energy. Therefore, the stand's capabilities to grow would surely depend on how strong Rubber Soul's life energy is, putting a limit on how big he could grow. However, we do not know what happens if Yellow Temperance does not feed. As soon as Jotaro and Anne's backs were turned, Rubber Soul had his stand consume the 4 beetles as quickly and erratically as possible, running the risk of being spotted. This kinda says to me that he is required to consume organic matter regularly, or the powers of his stand will weaken and be rendered nearly useless. These are just my own theories and are not confirmed by Araki. In reality, do I think that Yellow Temperance could grow to unlimited sizes? Probably not, as it would weigh down so much on Rubber Soul's life energy and would probably put his life at risk. This would potentially weaken or even destroy Yellow Temperance, so I'm under the impression that Rubber Soul's limits may have been shown in his battle with Jotaro. It's also possible that Rubber Soul did not go all out against Jotaro due to him being a cocky and vain individual. He probably felt he could beat Jotaro with minimal effort as long as he kept a part of Yellow Temperance on Jotaro's body. Rubber Soul did not predict that Jotaro would drop him into the water, which was his downfall. What are your thoughts on Rubber Soul and his stand Yellow Temperance? Do you think he showcased all his abilities and limits in his battle with Jotaro, or do you think he had some hidden capabilities that even he may not be aware of? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing to the channel for future JoJo content. Also, it would be great if you could hit that like button on this video if you wanted to see more stand analysis videos. If it gets 5 likes, I'll do another stand analysis video like this. To get notified when I release the next stand analysis video, hit that bell and you'll be notified when I release another one. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. But until next time, Bizarre Star Platinum out.